Hello, hello. Good evening. Actually, yeah, good evening, good afternoon. If you're watching this video in the afternoon or good evening and evening time. Good morning if you're watching this video in the morning. But as you can see, I am looking a little bit weird. I haven't slept in like very few days. So if people who don't really know how much busy someone is, like I'm very busy. Like I've been so busy, and luckily I make this video, so this is going to be like some kind of a proof that I'm always been busy. So I haven't slept in like very few days, and today I came from the gym from lifting weight, and because I have to go, it's been like a very addictive thing. And I came home, I just crashed on bed and have been sleeping for like 2 hours, just 2 hours. And I wanted to say this all the time, like I feel like I need to make a video since I was younger. When I woke up, everything looked brand new. Like my house, this is my house, like it looks normal. But everything looked just like brand new, like just because when you are tired, you don't really somehow like the visual becomes blurry and grayish. So now that I took the nap, I slept a little bit, everything now looks so good. Like the sun is wonderful, like for the outside, so it looks beautiful outside. I cannot go out, it's very windy, and I'm starting to get allergies because of the windy season. It's getting in fall, and next week we'll be starting day, the daylight saving time is gonna be over. So it's gonna start getting darker in very early times. So probably around 4, 5 actually. So right now it's 4 almost 4:30. So the next week is gonna be getting darker starting from 5 p.m. So it's not fun. Um, Today I just want to say that it's been a few days that I've been focusing more on me moving and focusing on details. But today I'm still focusing on a topic called poverty trap. If you watch my videos, you see I have a very long videos that I made about poverty trap. This is before I moved here in across the university in DC. But today is October 31st. So I've been counting days since October 1st, and now in October 31st. So when you look at my video, I've been recording every single day. And every time I record, I mention the day. And it's funny how time goes fast. And it's also funny that you cannot escape the time. Like I've been mentioning like today's this date, this date, and today we are on 31st of October, and it's also a celebration here in the United States. I'll talk about that in a moment, but the fact that I'm now on the last day of the month is something that I need to now remember and sort of like think, okay, this is so good, like this is impressive that you made it that day. And also when I look back, I'm like, this there's been so many changes that I've made this month. Like I moved, I was stressed out finding a new place. I would come back home late from school. I would just, it would rain. I would miss the bus. Like those stress are now like gone. Now I need to sleep. Now I need to take a nap. So that is an example of how you make those little decisions, those little things, and because they go unrecorded or undocumented, at some point you don't really necessarily remember or try to focus on them, or even if you think about how important they are. But today here I am almost kicking off the month, and tomorrow I'm going to be starting a new month of November 1st on Saturday. So this is impressive. This is good. This marks my official 9 years in the United States. So my official, it's not 10 years yet. It's 9 years in the United States. I think I need to visit Uganda as a way of celebrating my time in the United States. But anyways, I'm grateful for being in this country, and I'm always gonna be making these videos as a way to show that I've progressed. Because our people back home, they tend to question like, okay, how is this person going? Because we do send some money, but they want more and more money. They always want more money, but we can only give much, right? But whatever we send, they always question like, how is this person living? Are they okay? Are they on the streets? Are they homeless? Are they? But this, I guess this gives like a good point. Sometimes it's not always, because those people from Africa, they tend to have like weird beliefs. But my experience, myself, for me, when I see someone else succeeding, I'm always happy that they're succeeding and doing great, because at least I want to see someone getting struggling in a new country like United States. So, anyways, today is Halloween, so happy Halloween to the American people. There are some countries, I believe they are US allies, so that's South Korea, that's Philippines, and many other nations, South America, they celebrate Halloween. I still need to sleep. Halloween is not the same as Thanksgiving to those who live in the United States, so it's not really emphasized as much. Unlike other countries, I mean, unlike Thanksgiving, Halloween is just that Americans, they tend to dress weird, like some kind of costume, and they celebrate the witch, and they have like watermelon, not watermelon, that is like some kind of weird decorations. But anyways, these type of celebrations, they have a meaning to the American people, uh, and there's a reason why they do this kind of celebrations. I never tried to find out. I did not care. I don't think it's important. It is important when it comes to shopping. People buy a lot of stuff here in the United States when it's Halloween time. I need to turn on my light so that way it's a little bit brighter in here. But yeah, the point I'm trying to make is that today most people are gonna get drunk, drink and drive, and do all kinds of crazy stuff, because they take this as a I don't know if it's a national holiday. I have no idea. But to me, it's not a national holiday, because I still have to do my tasks and my projects. But anyways, I'm still thinking about the that was enough for Halloween. I'm not going to talk about that much. My house has no Halloween in it. There's no Halloween in this place, and this community. There's no Halloween celebration. So that means people in this place are possibly not Americans, because normally when you are in an American community, you will see Halloween popping up everywhere. Like decorations and all those things. You don't see those things here in this part of DC. So it kind of tells you how the place that you live might be populated by the migrants. So that's something to keep in mind, because most migrants don't celebrate this kind of stuff. But anyways, especially people from Africa, they think it's weird celebration. I actually had somebody say that Halloween was a devil. Like, I don't know how it's a devil, but if you ever gone to Halloween shopping, like the actual shop, they have like weird masks, looks like dead people, like all kinds of weird stuff, like extremely weird stuff. People paint their face and those things, but it looks cool. It looks entertaining, looks funny. But don't do something that you don't really understand the historical part of it. But Americans are known to do things that they have no clue what it means. That's why they consume drugs, because they don't really know. Like they don't take time to research. They just want to have fun and move on. There's no cultural reinforcement here. So, anyways, moving on. Yesterday I spoke for an hour, and I am impressed that I can speak for an hour, and I do want to speak for an hour. Because and in a camera, because I'm speaking here and nobody's around me, and it's a good thing. Why? Because you practice how to speak, and you practice how to keep momentum. When it comes to giving a speech, when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to talk to people. But more updates is October 31st, and in Washington D.C., the government is still shutting down. There's nothing going on here. People are still being laid off, so they are pretty much sitting down and paying rent. Keep in mind that many government workers, they live in a very expensive apartments, Northwest. So we're talking about somebody spending $5,000, and they don't make that much money. Nobody in DC makes more than $100,000 a year, except the president and people being in the government for so long. So out of these folks, I can feel they are struggling somewhere. So it's not that easy. It's not that easy to work in the government, and this has never been it's never been tough this much, because for years people are born in the United States. People are born here. Because for me, when I wasn't born in this country. So when you are born outside the US, when you come to the United States, we try to avoid the government as much as we can. We go to school, we get educated, but our goal is to work for private sector, right? But we don't want to be in the government, because you don't want someday to say something or be in trouble with the government, and then get stripped of all the privilege that we have. So it doesn't happen that often, but it can happen at any moment. It can happen any moment. In 1960s, there are a ton of people who came from Haiti, Asians, and also people from Jamaica, and some Africans too, who got deported just for supporting the African American movement of civil rights movement. Those people, they don't get remembered in history because they were accused of things like treason, and even if you might think you are advocating for something, but there could be some negative outcome, especially when you get involved in the government. When you work for private sector, it's easier because you're a private citizen. So if the government goes against you, you can actually sue them, or you can fight back. You can also move to a new country and get your citizenship. But if you're a government employee, once you're involved in the government, it's hard to leave. And if you leave, US will hunt you anywhere you go. So it's something to keep in mind. So people who are born in the United States, they went to school specifically to work for the government. They think, A, they speak English, so they have a good advantage of getting in there. B, they are born here, so they think they know the history and they understand the people. And three, they think that it's stable and they can just simply get a job and stay in there for the rest of their life. They don't have to leave, they can just hang around. Government jobs are much easier, depends on what you do, but a lot of government jobs used to be easier. Just sit on a chair, a bunch of holidays, not much, except they don't pay too much. They don't pay that much, so it's very they don't pay that much. But you have to you move up. You get a raise based on like the level. So like you have like a GS, general service, So they go to like from 9 to like 11, 15. So the higher you go, the more you make. So over time, people, as they stay longer in the government, they start making like huge amount of money. So many younger people went to schools like Harvard, all those big schools, took out some loans in the hope that if they get a good job in the government, they can eventually stay in there for a long time. And now all these people are simply just getting laid off indefinitely, and there's no hope coming back. Even those who did go to the court and they filed a lawsuit and they kept their jobs, they are still unemployed. They're employed, but they cannot get paid because the government is shutting down, and it's been shutting down for a month. So like, imagine the whole month without getting paid, right? Okay, you're not working technically, but if you are like a police officer, working in the government, or if you are like an analyst, working for the government, or a public policy analyst, or some kind of random stuff, like in a national policy indicator, something like that. And you have your education, you have 50, 20, 30 years of experience, and you are lucky Elon Musk did not fire you, right? You have a job. But now a month is kicking in and you don't get paid. It's a big problem, because not only that, but also your job is at risky, because even if you stay, you don't know if the people are looking at you. People are looking at you. People are looking at you like, oh, okay, you got a job, like that's cool, like you're working, but some of us got fired, so you're special employee. But now you're not getting paid, so 1 month is a lot of months, and we don't know how long it's gonna take. It might take a year. Who knows? With the government shutting down, and then but next couple of years we're gonna have a new president. Trump is not gonna stay. All of this is because of Trump, but he's not gonna stay. He's gonna leave someday, and he's gonna leave. He's gonna go home, live in Mar-a-Lago, get old, go in a nursing home, and die, just like Jimmy Carter died. Right? We're gonna move on. But these people who are struggling now, they're gonna be here. They're gonna be here forever. Most of them are younger. So it's a big problem that we have to keep in mind. And then so anyway, so nobody's getting paid. Services are going down. You can't visit the museums; they're all shut down temporarily. I haven't got any updates from the Library of Congress. We don't know unemployment rate at the moment. So a lot of things we don't know. Like we are losing so much with the government shutting down. We are also losing so much with the employees getting laid off. We are also losing so much with the budget getting cut. But this is not just American people. The whole world is suffering when the United States does these things, because the only thing we have is the Federal Reserve Bank, which has cut the interest rate, and the Federal Reserve Bank, the money that the dollar is the key in the whole world. So when the U.S. is doing all these mistakes, all these stupid things, the whole world suffers just for simple stuff. And you may be wondering, why is the government shutting down? That's because it's just the Democrats and the Republicans, they cannot agree on which budget to pass. That's the only problem. Because remember, the Trump and his friend Elon Musk, they cut huge workforce, cut many services in the hope that they can save money. But it turns out that the money they were saving was not there. So they end up spending even more money to fire the workers. They realize it's more expensive to fire people than hiring people. So now everybody was fired. There's already an executive order. They already cut the budget. They already cut everything. Then they realize now we screwed up and there's nothing we can do. So let's cut even more services to have less budget. So they cut even more services. And by doing so, when they finalized the bill, it's called Big Beautiful Bill. I talked about this in July, I believe in August. They organized this and everything was perfect. They included the funding for Medicare, like the funding for food stamp. I think that was removed. Everything, they made everything like Americans are very nice. Americans are like, okay, fine, that's cool. Just pass it, let's move on, okay? People who got fired, they were like, okay, we got fired, we got get new jobs, fine, just let's move on, all right? And it's been 1 year so far. By the way, remember I moved here in January, so I have not been here for a long time. People are like, fine, let's move on. But when they were about to pass the budget in Congress and Senate, did not pass. Why? Because people who got fired, they were like, wait a minute, you guys are gonna pass a budget and they get paid while we are sitting down unemployed? Companies are laying off workers. Amazon just laid off 14,000 workers. Google did the same thing. All companies are laying off workers. In the meantime, there is money being spent on like AI development, semiconductors, deporting migrants, right? So you are spending money to do something else. Farmers are struggling. I talked about this in the farm in the past. Actually, we keep forgetting about these things, but farmers used to rely heavily on the migrants, undocumented migrants with no documents. Because remember, people with no documents, they don't really pay taxes, so they get paid like cheap labor, like $10. That would be the highest pay. They struggled, and then you have, you know, other people, other companies struggling because restaurants have to shut down because there's no consumption. These migrants, mostly people from South America, they may not be documented, but they do buy food, right? It's not like they work here in the United States and they fly to their own country and buy food over there. They buy food here, they consume, they rent, they have a place to stay, they have families, they put their kids in school, so they are doing something to the economy. And when you deport them, not only do they remove their consumption from the economy, but also the people that they work with also lose the revenue, right? So the companies have to hire new people, and it's harder to hire new people. Like, it's harder to come to me and say, okay, James is a master's student in economics, and I believe he's gonna work as a construction worker. Like, how are you gonna convince me to be a construction worker if I have been in other stuff, right? So companies they have a hard time finding workers in this field. And even if they do, they have to train these new workers. They need to give them new tools. Things are going fast, and then those companies those construction companies also, they are contractors, right? And for the most part, their contract, their customers sometimes they rely on the government, and the government they rely on has been defunded. So this affects the whole country, and they never thought about this for a moment when they did this decisions. But anyways, here we are, and just hoping that things will work out. And in my hope is that the government will open, they will shut down, they will open the government, and I don't like the government shutdown. I was not expecting this, but people are very angry. It's very hard. It's very easy to underestimate the anger when you are not in Washington D.C. When you live in other parts of the country, like once you leave the border, the D.C. border, to especially in Virginia, going all the way to, like, I don't know, South Carolina, Texas, California, people don't care. They live their own life. They see the price. They see the price going up. They're like, oh, oops. Like, they don't really think about that much. Or they see the rent going down, the price going down. They're like, oh, that must be nice. It's because of Trump. The price is going down. But they don't really understand the effects. But there's a lot of anger because people in DC, they control the whole world. They control the entire world. Like, everything you consume, buy, eat, live, breathe, even the oxygen. These guys make decisions about those things. Military decisions, right? Intelligent community here in DC. So those things are very crucial here in DC, and I've been thinking about this for a moment. Okay, now let me talk about the Nvidia. Nvidia is becoming a big company, right? And the company is not really involved much in politics, but it is, in one way or the other, involved in the politics. Why? Because under Joe Biden, there was an increase in infrastructure, and the goal was to increase the manufacture of microchip, and the B was to increase the electric vehicles. Now those two things have something in common. Electric vehicles, on one hand, they are environmentally friendly, so they don't emit carbon emission. I'll talk about this in the future. But they don't emit carbon emission. They don't emit gas in the air, so they make our space much greener, so we don't get sick. So I don't get sick, which is good. However, something else they do use is the battery and electricity. And electricity can be combined with electronics. So you can put the camera in there, you can put, a computer, you can program a software in there. So software needs something. It needs something called microchip, right? So when the government under Joe Biden invested in this technology of the microchip and investments, it boosted the economy, it boosted the manufacturing, and a company that was already in the business like Nvidia immediately saw a huge boost. And then here comes Donald Trump. Donald Trump, even Joe Biden too, but Donald Trump specifically, he hates China. And he's been punishing China since 2019. He passed policies, he passed tariffs against China. He thinks China is a threat to the US. He thinks China is involved in geopolitics, which it is, especially with Russia, and Iran, and the African nations. So Trump, he passed tariffs, but tariffs didn't seem to be working. So he focused on investing in the U.S. manufacturing. He's been advocating for the U.S. domestic production, and Nvidia became the face of the U.S. So the company has been growing really fast. Then we had ChatGPT. So ChatGPT came out, as a non-profit, focusing on combining all kinds of data around the world. Then you use that data to train the model. Then if somebody asks for a question in that model, the model will respond with the answer. Sometimes the answer was wrong, sometimes it was correct, but over time it became better and better and better. So recently I mentioned about this NVIDIA and the AI and OpenAI, they both combine. Now NVIDIA doesn't just make microchip, it also makes supercomputer, like quantum computing. These are like very powerful computers that can take a large amount of data. So to understand this, if you have a computer, you have probably had your computer making noise, like zzz, like sound, when you try to do something that is so powerful, like downloading a video or uploading a very large file. If the computer is full, like when it has so much things to process, it slows down and it starts to die, it starts to run out the memory, right? Quantum computing, one of the biggest, to test if the computer is powerful, you play video games, because video games have so much data, and they are also trained on a coding language called C++ or C or C++. And the C or C++ is a very powerful language that is really hard. So it takes a lot of memory. So quantum computing can be tested on video games. So if you can play video games on quantum computing, that means it can do a lot of things. So, but one of the biggest challenges that for the last 5 years, this is like from 2021 to today, I don't know if it's been 5 years or so, was to combine the OpenAI, the ChatGPT, where you can prompt the answers, combine that idea with the physical with the physical item like computer, a car, or some kind of other physical like robotics. By combining those two things, you can build something powerful. Like if you see a robot is controlled by instructions built in the software that machines use. But robot is not efficient, right? Like it does think, but it pulls information from the internet. Now, if you combine OpenAI with the robots or some kind of machines, now you have a powerful machine. Like you can program it to build anything you want. So the same way you can ask ChatGPT, give me instructions on how to build a house. It tells you need to do this, do this, do this, do this. You can use that information to, if you combine those two tools, you can use that technology to like ask the robot to build a house, or ask the robot to do something for you in your favor and your behalf. Ask a car to drive somewhere or stop somewhere. So I give it instructions. You can also build coding, like ChatGPT builds coding. So the coding now has been killed. Software engineering is going down because you can ask AI to do the coding for you. So anyway, that is just the idea. Now, this past month, OpenAI and NVIDIA, both powerful, they combined that they both they have a deal of building a big data center. Okay, so a data center, the NVIDIA will provide those uh, powerful supercomputer, or quantum computing as they call it, because they are very physicist people. Quantum computing, and then it will provide such a powerful output to things like OpenAI, and then OpenAI can blend in other powerful tasks like financial analysts, for example, teaching, fingerprint, like those powerful things that can be done by high programming language. You can also ask AI to reprogram itself, so it can build its own coding, like build coding and coding and coding and coding. As long as there is a tool, as long as there is a storage, like quantum computing, that can store those information, so it doesn't die. So now, as we speak, many companies now, they are rushing to catch up. But at first it was like a joke, not like a joke, but it was like, ChatGPT is gonna die, it's gonna go bankruptcy, because in the past there has been companies that came out and doing bankruptcy. They became bankruptcy. You have social media that going bankrupt, but you also have some that succeeded. OpenAI was just adapted like quickly. At first it was like a joke, but now it's like becoming popular, and companies like Google is finding itself behind. Companies like Facebook behind. Companies like AWS, Amazon Web Services behind. So to catch up, guess what they did? They partnered with AI and also partnered with NVIDIA. And because Donald Trump is the guy in power, and Donald Trump is not focusing on domestic companies, is focusing more on reducing the expenditure, fighting workers. Is also focusing on expanding the GOP across the country for the next president to win, and is also focusing on punishing China. That being said, American corporations, they can now unite and now build a partnership, cooperation rather than competition. So that came with a drawback. Like NVIDIA, these companies, they started firing workers because they don't need workers anymore. If you can, so to save money, to come up with the deals, work with, because to build quantum computing, it takes a lot of money. Like NVIDIA hires a ton of researchers to work in research. They hire a lot of competition. Like wherever you come from, if you live in Russia, if you live in Ukraine, wherever you live, if you live in Africa, as long as you have an idea, as long as you have a PhD, and you did research in computer science, you did research in something, NVIDIA will hire you. They will sponsor you. They bring you on. They are focused on developing. That's why you don't hear the NVIDIA CEO being published on the news for being the richest man in the world. You oftentimes will hear Elon Musk, you hear Jeff Bezos, but you don't hear NVIDIA Jensen CEO in the news for being the most richest man in the world, because their focus is more on developing high-level computing. That's like they're passionate about it. So because of that, they have the most and the best talent. The last time, the only company that has the most talented people in the world was Google. Google was the only company in the world that has the most talented people in the world for the past 10 years plus, right? They had that energy, they had that drive, and that's why they grew faster. But for the few years, Google has been shifting toward these things like, let's be nicer, let's be more diverse, and let's more be this and this. So that has shifted the Google a little bit down. But Nvidia is coming up with the same American ways of thinking. Like, let's focus on innovation first. So now instead of like competing each other, they are cooperating, and all these other companies, Nvidia is hiring. Like, Nvidia is hiring so many workers because they're getting more money, they're getting more deals. AI is hiring many workers because they're getting more deals. But the companies like AWS, which is it might lose the race at any moment. Companies like Google, they might get out of business. Like ChatGPT just launched a Chrome or like software search, so they may get out of business, and many other companies may get out of business if they don't focus on cooperation rather than competition. So we are seeing corporations, and to win this game, all you have to do is don't talk about Trump, don't talk about politics, don't talk about economics. The many agencies, including BLS, has been shut down. It's not functioning. Many other agencies have been shut down. So we don't know. Like, even the Pentagon fired a lot of journalists from working in Pentagon. So there's no we never know what's going on in the government. So as long as you are not criticizing the government, you are good to go. Like, you can do anything you want. So these corporations, they realized if they do politics like they did like in the past few years, corporations will say things like, let's use technology to develop Africa. Let's use technology to help people in West Virginia who are in poverty. Let's use technology to help children in Harlem, New York City, who are in poverty, who are in slums. But these corporations cannot say that anymore. They can't say so because they are getting some money from the government, and B, they are being targeted by the government under Trump, because it's gonna look bad on the government. This is what I'm talking about right now. Really does sound like, yeah, I'm getting allergies because of the season. But anyways, yeah, this is so windy. What I'm describing right now, it really sounds like a dictatorship, right? We had the same problem here back in 2020, where the Democrats banned the freedom of speech. Social media were banned. I'm actually getting paid from Facebook for ACT anyway. It was banned because of some sort of misinformation, misguiding and misleading conspiracy theories. So they banned the freedom of speech, which is not good. But this time, it's kind of the same thing. Just ban freedom of speech. Just say what I want. If you don't, you're not in my. You're not gonna do this. You're not gonna be able to succeed. So anyway, so far so good. Tariffs. Trump went to Asia. He signed the deal with Xi Jinping, and they agreed to sort of. Xi Jinping agreed to buy American goods, and then the US will also keep buying the Chinese goods. So the tariffs went down. This is not for the Chinese people. Yes, Chinese people are struggling much more than we are, but because we consume on a dollar, right, our life much harder. For billionaires, that's not a big deal. Jeff Bezos can afford to live in his mansion for 50 years until he dies without needing to work, without needing any money. For us, we rely on paycheck to paycheck. Some Americans, they have car loans. Some Americans, I have my own car, but it's a privilege to have your own car if you're paying on installment and you lose your job. Like, they're gonna tow that car, like it's gone. Americans have credit cards. They use credit cards to consume things. If you cannot pay, you'd rather have student loans and mortgage than having credit card, because student loans can be paused. All right, the mortgage you can refinance it. Credit cards, you cannot refinance that. You have to pay, and every second it accrues the interest rate. And the more money you accrue, the interest rate goes up. So if you have like $1,000, and then the interest rate is like, the time you multiply that by the interest rate, like 5%, for example. If the money, then you don't pay that, and then over time it goes to $5,000, the interest rate is gonna make it double to like $10,000. So you may think, okay, I'm gonna be paying $5,000 in the next one from this year, but then you realize, oh, it's actually double that. So it's people, Americans are living, there are many Americans who are living that kind of life, and it's very difficult. So anyways, again, I am in DC, so I don't necessarily know much about what's going on in the world. That's how we are. We live here and make decisions, we make up opinions on other people's lives. But the point I'm trying to make here is that my hope that things get back to normal, and we get back to work, we get back to having a normal life like we used to back in 2016, 2017. And or maybe things can change. We are shifting from consuming software, consuming social media, to consuming durable goods like data centers, like manufacturing. So we might actually see things change around. We might see technology with the corporations between, you know, NVIDIA, OpenAI, AWS, and many other companies becoming cooperating and uniting. We might see a huge boost in infrastructure, and we need a ton of infrastructure. Like houses are run down, rail stations are down, public transit is terrible. Like our things in the United States are not funded, even though the engineers are making so much money. When you see where they live, not great. Yes, there's some rich people who are living in the very big mansions, but we need to have more infrastructure, more houses, more real estate projects, better equipment. So those things can be achieved if we can support the manufacturing in the United States. Other than that, let me head over to my kitchen and get some drinks. I need to make some tea here. I make some tea here. I am so lazy in going to buy. I'm lazy to purchase chicken. I haven't bought chicken for like a month. So when I go to the gym, I work out. I lose a lot of calories. I need to make sure that I can eat to sustain my own body. So to do that, I have to eat chicken. I have to eat all kinds of stuff. But again, tonight I'm going to publish an article, a news article detailing everything I just mentioned, detailing everything about AI, about new developments, new infrastructure, new laws, new rules, new things. It's going to be on Medium, but it's going to be the same information, except that this is going to be more detailed, very long, detailed video than the newsletter. But the goal of me being here is to document, yes, go to school, but also document about the government and how the government is going. I observe, I see, I learn, I document, and after 5 years, I'm just gonna be leaving this place, go live somewhere else. It's a very interesting to me. Like it's so wonderful to me that I'm in this year and I'm doing this kind of work. Like it gives me joy, gives me happiness that I am in a political environment, something that people do when they turn 40, 50, 100 years. I mean, not 100 years, but 80 years or something like that. I'm doing it when I'm younger, so that if I get older, I'm going to say, wait a minute, I used to say these things when I was 28 years old. You know, where was I wrong? Where was I correct? Right? These videos are here to stay. They're not going anywhere. And the longer they are, the better, because I can look at myself see what I used to say, see what I used to do, and sort of, decide whether I was doing the right thing, if I wasn't doing the right thing. But check on my coffee. I have like 2 minutes to sleep before I head over somewhere else. But other than that, I gotta get some coffee. I gotta get some tea. I mentioned yesterday about my tea, the tea I got from a friend, from one of my friends from Iran. This tea is called Persian tea, which tastes amazing. Look at that. Ooh. I'm not drink everything. It looks smaller, but it's a lot. So I'm gonna spin it. I don't know if I need some more tea. I think I need to add some extra. No, it's going to turn darker. So if you cook tea, I'm an expert when it comes to tea. When you cook tea, do not boil tea on the stove. All right. Never boil tea on the stove. Always boil water, and after boiling water, then put in the tea bag or add some tea. Similar with coffee, always add coffee in it. Same thing with milk. Never boil anything on the stove. It's just not the best way to do it. So, like right now, my tea is turning darker. Alright. So you can see becoming the royal tea. Beautiful. Yes, it tastes pretty good. All right, so I hope if you made this far, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm trying to make this video more interesting, and I really don't have the drive, the energy to talk about poverty trap, to talk about why nations are poor, but I was thinking about sharing about the institutions, but because this is more political when it comes to institutions, it's something that I need to think about it as for a long time. I need to think about it much. I need to take some time because attacking poor countries and blaming them is not a good idea. It's not the best way to fix problems. So I try not to come off and blame the institutions, blame poor countries for being poor, because I only know much. I only know little, right? And besides, like when you live in DC, you get exposed to so many different countries, different politicians, different people from different parts of the world, and everybody come here with an agenda. I come here with an agenda of documenting the government actions. So everybody has an agenda, and you have to be mindful when you're imposing your own opinions in other countries. So I've been very careful when talking about poor countries and why they don't converge. So that's why right now I'm going to be commenting about the government of the United States, because that's the safest I can do, and focusing on more on other things. Then I'm going to be thinking about how can I frame poor nations, how can I frame the institutions not being too productive, not being more quality, high quality, more functional. What has failed, and then that's something I'm going to talk about maybe next month in November, starting tomorrow. But other than that, thanks for watching. This October, this has been such a wonderful month. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I moved to a new apartment. I don't have to take train anymore. I don't have to struggle anymore. I don't have to be worried about snow, and I have an apartment. So that's a privilege to have. Other than that, thanks for watching. Like always, enjoy a new month. Happy Halloween and the happy new month of November. Bye bye. Ciao ciao.